it live now, and we'll do like a 15 or 20-second lead in just because of with ads running and things like that. We got the feedback in the past that sometimes we're mid-sentence when people are finally seeing us. So we do that now, but otherwise it's 7 p.m. here on a Thursday night, which means it's time for the CarrGuy SixFan show. And tonight I'm your host, Grant Tommy. I am the man behind the channel, Straight SixFan, but my co-host is...
I am Jason. I'm the car guy of the situation, or Old Car Guy, which is my YouTube channel. So thank you guys for joining in on this Thursday night. We've got a few people sitting in the chat. Will's Wheels, Classic Drivers Garage, Robert's Garage, Haggard Hot Rods, Narcoleptic Customs, and Country Boy Gas Garage. So there's a few people in there. We're waiting for a few more. King Eric the Great has just showed up. We can start the show now. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to announce our guest on the CarrGuy SixFan show this Thursday evening. Frank, why don't you go ahead and tell us who you are and what you're all about?
Well, thanks for having me, guys, first of all. And so we were kind of chatting before we came live here. It's my second time with Grant and first time here with both you guys now. So it was probably over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I think, that Grant and I spoke for the first time on one of the chats. So yeah, it's been a wild journey since then, actually.
It may have been longer. It may have been, I think, 3 years. I think it was in the spring. I think it was May. But Jason could probably help date it because my old series, Know Your Neighbors. Jason was a guest on my show as well, and I did that monthly. Jason, that was like your first year doing YouTube. So how long ago was that?
That was 2018, and when I did the Know Your Neighbors, it was my birthday, and I was turning 43, I believe, that year. I'm 46 this year, so yeah, it's been 3 years since I've done the show, so it's at least that. Time flies.
Okay, yeah, that's crazy. It does fly. Well, yeah, since then, so yeah, my name's Frank Finnelli, from Long Island, New York. Originally, I spent most of my adult career life in the military and just kind of working on cars, building cars my own. And then I got this weird kind of crazy message from someone over Instagram a couple of years ago saying, "Hey, do you want to try out for this show called Bitchin Bootcamp?" And I'm like, I don't know. You hear something like that, you think it's either too good to be true or there's no way you're ever going to get picked for it or you're not good enough or whatever. And after my family kind of pushed me to it, I made the tryout video for it. And next thing I knew, in the few weeks to come, I heard that I was one of the finalists for getting maybe picked for the show, and then found out that I was actually going to be flying to Salt Lake City to be on the show. And I figured, all right, well, there's no way I'm going to have a chance of even doing well on the show, so I'll probably just be there for an episode, and it'll be a cool story for my grandkids someday. And then, either way, I'm just going to go there and have a great time with it. And then every episode and challenge kind of continued, and I wound up doing okay, and I won a few challenges. And the next thing I knew, it was the season or the finale episode, and I duked it out against Brianna, and yeah, I wound up actually winning the show, and therefore a job I can dig it, and it just changed my life from there. And it was the first time I ever worked professionally in the automotive industry. So I quit my job as I was an Army ROTC instructor, and I was a company commander in the reserves at the time, and pretty much told them I got to move. Life's changed for me. And I packed up every tool that I owned that I thought I would need in my Mustang and some clothes, and just drove across from Rochester, New York, all the way to Utah at the end of February, and hit a few snowstorms and made for a fun trip. And then I just started working the next day. I got there 3 days across country, and I worked the next day. And it's been just over a year now since that I've been working there, and I've done 3 moves since then, getting some cars and stuff across country, and I still have a few more left at the house in New York to get. So it's a never-ending process. But yeah, that's sort of the short of it.
So yeah, you make the trek across the country in 3 days, like you said, and if I remember right, on a set of bad tires as well. On top of that,
yeah, yep. Which I thusly did some burnouts in a month later, and then got a new set of tires on, melted them down. It was fun.
Well, I know when I visited you, I guess that was the end of August, start of September, out there in Salt Lake City. Got to see your shop and things like that. I was giving you a hard time because as I watched, of course, the Bitchin Bootcamp. For those of you who haven't seen it, of course, it's on the Motor Trim on Demand app, and through Motor Trend, but I was giving you a hard time because as I watched the series, it's like, man, Frank never really turns the YouTuber off. Like you were like telling the camera exactly what you're doing and how you were working on things, but you know, of course, like you said, that you spent time in the ROTC as an instructor, so that just comes natural to you. But I guess since the show, what's been the skill that it's now second nature to you since the show, since working at Kindiga Design, that maybe wasn't something that was in your repertoire before?
That's a great question. I think, I mean, they've afforded me the opportunity to work in a lot of different departments of the shop. So I've gotten to do a lot of stuff there. I've spent a majority of my time actually doing body work. And though I've done body work and, you know, done body work on my own cars before, I haven't done it to their level. So for sure, I've learned a lot of really intricate techniques and ways of doing really, you know, high-end body work, which is something that I never thought I'd either be capable of doing or would learn how to do. So it's kind of the unglamorous job because most people don't really either understand it or it doesn't get as much attention. It's not as sexy as seeing all the sparks flying and the welding and, you know, grinding down when you're on the metal side. But yeah, as a body man, I mean, it's an art. It takes a lot of patience and real skill and kind of almost forward thinking to do body work. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned since I've been there is how to do really, I wouldn't say I'm great at doing body work still. I think I'm still learning a lot, but obviously I'm still working there, so it means something. But yeah, body work for sure.
So one thing, Frank, I guess we saw in the comments there when you had mentioned about your previous career. Although I am Canadian, thank you so much for your service for being a part of that. And I'm just in the middle of watching Bitchin Bootcamp because I don't have Motor Trend TV. I subscribed. I'm going to get it for 7 days. I'm going to binge the damn thing. I just finished the Fender challenge, and I really think that you even said it yourself in that challenge that that's where you shine, the body work and how you did that. And they had a hard time picking apart your Fender on the work that you did. Mm-hmm. When you do body work on your own cars, and I've seen you know, quite a few of your videos doing, you know, full quarter panels and fenders and stuff like that. Do you have any special tools that you use yourself, or are you just kind of winging it and doing it with the tools you have?
I mean, pretty much everything that I'm learning at work, I just now apply those new like skills that I have in my head now to what I do. I mean, yeah, while I've been working there, from the guys that I work with, I've picked up different ideas for tools or other things you could utilize. But really, yeah, I just kind of keep a tool bag that I kind of transport between home and work, and the stuff that I like to use more commonly that I'll use, you know, both at home and at work. So yeah, it's no, I don't think there's anything, you know, besides your basic set of body hammers and dollies and, you know, just grinders and cutting tools, just your basic pneumatic and hand tools, and nothing crazy out of the ordinary. I don't think. It's just more so just the skill and the technique that I'm learning from the people I'm around that I get to actually put in. So every time I like get to work on my own stuff or look at my own projects, I feel like I look at it with new eyes. It's like, oh, I can do this a little bit better. I can fix this. Something that never would have even occurred to me years ago that I could fix or that would stand out to me. So now it's like, oh yeah, I can do that better. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm guessing a lot of what bodywork is, there's a feel and a touch, but then also having like vision, like, you know, just to be able to look down a body line, just to be able to see things. And I'm sure, like you said, picking up different techniques, there's not necessarily one way to do the same trick, right? And so when you get to learn from, okay, well, this guy likes to use the sandbag, this guy likes to use the hammer and dolly, you know, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
I want to go back to when you were a YouTuber, you know, the pre-Bitchin Bootcamp, and you know, remind everybody, like, maybe that's how you got noticed, or that's how somebody reached out to you over Instagram for this opportunity. But you know, I've been following you for quite some time, but the one thing that there's no mistake about your channel is that you know, you had your Camaro early on. You've got that Buick Wildcat, but it's almost Mopar or no car there in the Finnelli Steed. What's
Yep.
what? How did you come to kind of take a liking to the Mopar crowd?
I think it just happened through building that 71 Charger. So I think like a lot of young people who are into cars, you know, I was fortunate with so I kind of started out at 23 on my own when I was on active duty in the military, and I had a decent amount of money that I was making. And, you know, I didn't spend much money on anything else but cars and car parts. So I picked up that Camaro and I just started there. But it was certainly the game of being able to buy an affordable project car that wasn't going to start me at, you know, a $2,000 or $3,000 car instead of something at 10 grand to start with and to learn on, which is still a lot of money for anyone to start with too. But it's, you know, depending on what the kind of car is. So like, yeah, your second gen, your later, your 70s Camaros can be less expensive than trying to buy obviously a split bumper or even a first gen Camaro or something like that. So I got into those, and then the Charger came my way. I just saw it on Craigslist down there, and I was like, oh, this is a 71 Charger. That's a cool car. And it really wasn't that expensive. And I was like, okay, I could see myself working on this thing. And I've always loved the whole variety of muscle cars and hot rods and stuff. I was like, that'll be cool. And yeah, then my friend John, who I wound up making in North Carolina, ran by one day, and he's done like almost 40 Barracudas in his life, and he's got a Super Bird and a bunch of really rare and cool things. And he just ran by the house one day, and just, I had a lot of people that would come visit me when I was working on my car, and sometimes not to my liking. It was just like a busy neighborhood, and I would just have people stop by. And I just thought he was another crazy like passerby, honestly. And turns out he was like, no, he was telling me about his cars, and I was like, yeah, okay. And then he showed up like the next week in the Super. I was like, okay, this guy means business. And so we spent a lot of time kind of hanging out, and I think he rubbed off on me a bit too. And it just, I don't know, I've always loved the late 60s, early 70s muscle cars, and the Mopars are kind of, in my opinion, the king of that era and that generation of those cars. Not to say that, as you know, I've owned different ones, different varieties of other cars, but yeah, at the current time, other than my Wildcat and the Mustang, which I'm actually thinking of selling here pretty soon, everything else I own is Mopar. So it's kind of worn off. And then my girlfriend and her whole family are Mopar people. So it's in the family. Yeah.
And for those who are out there on the internet watching this after the fact, the real answer to that question is once you own one, you really have to learn how to repair it. So, you know, we'll just keep going with that. So I think one of the things that we want to do, maybe Grant, before we go too much further, is talk a little bit about the raffle. We'll throw that out there for those who aren't aware of what the raffle is all about and what the super chats are going for.
Yeah, so thanks once again to both Pony and Stupid Fast Truck for the $5 super chat. Every dollar spent in super chat gets you a chance at winning not just one package of this 80 mil 36 square foot kit from Kilmat, but two, as well as an installation roller. So the prize pack, if you try to find it on eBay, you're going to total something around $123, I think, is what that goes for these days. And apparently, ever since I got that box, it's been a hard kit to get. So that's what you're up for. And you know, there's only this show and then maybe two more opportunities. So it's just Jason and I decided, you guys being generous, just giving us money out of the blue via super chat, we wanted to figure out a way to give back. So this is the chance to give back. But thanks, Jason.
Yeah, no worries. And don't forget, when I'm hosting the show, there's a prize over there as well. And that award show will take place on the 22nd of April. So, Frank, let's talk a little bit about your YouTube. You've been doing it for a while. You're still doing some uploads once in a while. Tell us about what got you into YouTube. I'm sure I already know the answer, but maybe some of the guys who don't know who you are will want to know what got you into YouTube to show off your talents.
For me, I've always just liked documenting what I do. So I more so started on Instagram, and I've definitely carried a stronger presence there than I have with YouTube, just because, as you guys definitely know, it's a lot of work to edit a video and to get one uploaded. I don't think a lot of people realize the effort you could spend on making even a 10-minute video for YouTube versus a quick 1-minute video on my Instagram page. So it's I don't know, I started it just to have a place where I could just kind of showcase what I'm doing, and maybe also get a chance to be recognized by other people for what I'm doing and kind of network. And yeah, just it was a cool thing to just do, and also to potentially make some money off of, you know, some of the videos I make, and add a little extra income to maybe help out with some of the parts and projects I buy in the future or whatever. So it's just a way to just try and connect and show what I was doing and learn from other people, and the same thing I do with Instagram too. So it's a really cool community online with fellow car people.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's the relationship, the networking. I mean, I don't visit you back in September if not for this crazy thing we do. That's YouTube. But
yeah, it's true.
Same thing. I'm sure you probably came out of Bitchin Bootcamp with were some new relationships. I mean, for me, when I watched the show, I remember thinking like, wow, this looks like really just a good core group of people. You guys all appeared to be friends. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, we all know that editing can make a story look like something different. Like we may have saw 20% of the good times and missed 80% of the bad blood or whatever. But talk about the relationships you've developed since Bitchin Bootcamps with that experience.
Yeah, no, I mean, what you guys saw on the show is real. Like it was never, and that's one thing I didn't know going into it, what to expect with something like that. If they were going to want us to say or do certain things, or like, you know, I didn't want to go there and be a scripted actor. I wanted to just go there and do what I do and meet some cool people and have fun along the way. And that's what it was. I mean, what maybe some people might have said in their own cameos or whatever is on them. But as far as me and every interaction I saw with us out there in the show, we were all just being ourselves. And it was really fun during the filming of the show. They would put us in this kind of waiting room above the shop where they filmed it. And we had no phone access. And it was just like 12 adults in a room. We all just had to kind of just hang out and eat snacks and just talk about this and that. And it was a good time. We all really meshed together really well. We would all go out and get food after filming, you know, on a day or finishing challenges, and hang out on the weekends and go explore around Salt Lake City. So no, we all just were, I think, amazed to find other people that shared in the same passion like we all collectively did, and just had a lot of fun with it. And no, there was no drama. There was no bad blood that I ever knew of on the show. It was just all of us having a good time. And yeah, I mean, there might have been a couple little moments of friction on some of the challenges with the groups of people, but it's nothing. It was all very genuine to me, and I had fun with it. I had a lot of fun.
So I know that the season ended up being, I think it was 8 episodes altogether. Mm-hmm. How long in real time did the whole show last, like from the first episode to the last?
It was filmed over a month. So it took a month of filming, and it was, I like to say it was a fast month, but it was also, it lasted a while too, just because it was very nerve wracking, you know, every day. Just, that was the hardest part of it, is that you didn't know, and that's what they wanted. It was us to not know what the challenges were. So we would go in every challenge not knowing what to expect, and then, you know, Dave and Kevin would come down and tell us what was happening, and the next thing you know, here we go. Like the clock literally would start, and that was the time we had to do these challenges. And then if you were not going to make it, you were going home that day. And so it was tense but exciting at the same time.
Well, one of the characters, I forget his name. Jason probably knows it because he's watching it right now. But that I don't think anybody could watch the show and not leave without thinking about the guy. But the one with Mr. Orange Van, Shag Carpet Van, is he in real life? I mean, is what Justin, we see on camera what he is?
Yeah, Justin he's like what you see on camera. He's got a big personality with his van and just the different projects he's done in his own life and his experience as a Navy diver. And no, he's just a fun kind of crazy guy like the rest of us. And yeah, no, what you saw on the show, that was him.
I was almost going to talk without my mic there for a second. So Frank, I guess one of the questions that maybe some of these guys in the chat or who'll be watching this after the fact might be asking is, you know, what does it take? Or I know you were kind of approached, but what do you think it takes to get noticed for something like this? I mean, I know that those opportunities don't come around for everybody. But just the opportunity simply to be asked, let alone to make it as far as you did, obviously, kind of going the full gambit right through to the final episode and winning. But somebody had to notice you somewhere along the way. What do you think it took for that certain person to notice you, to say, hey, I think this guy is got what it takes?
Just being myself. And that's the same advice I'd give anyone else. Just being yourself and being passionate about what you do and putting all of your effort into what you do. I mean, I had no idea Bitchin Bootcamp even existed, to be honest. I was reached out to by someone representing a company looking to scout people to be on the show. So I had no idea about it. And that's the whole thing that was my Instagram and YouTube leading up to that. And even still to today, I post things that are going on in my life, and majority of it's car related, and it's, it's just me being me. And I think that's the best advice you can get really for anything, even whether it has to deal with cars or just life in general. It's just being yourself, being genuine, and having fun with it. And I think that's what I try and do with it. And maybe that's what got me recognized. I don't know for sure, but that's definitely how I feel with everything that I do. With every video I make, I just try and do the best work I can, learn, and have fun with it. And just, that's where it took me.
Well, and good on you for it.
Well, thank you.
Well, I know we've barely crested the 1 year anniversary since you started work. After you win the competition, get a spot at K-dawg Designs, and I know we're probably at month 13 or 14 now.
Mm-hmm.
And as you look back, in 2020, of course, nobody's gonna forget the year 2020. But talk about how that all happens, right? Like you get the job, I think, in like February, and then the world shuts down. If I remember right, too, you really didn't leave the East Coast that often, if ever. So talk about what 2020 is like for you, or the last year, I guess.
Yeah, 2020 was by far the most dynamic and significant year of my life for all the reasons above. But yeah, I started out by winning a TV show, which I never expected to happen in my life, and then winning a dream job at a place I never expected to work at, and then driving across country. Yeah, it was about a week, maybe a week and a half into moving into Utah, that we had like some earthquakes, and then coronavirus hit. And then like I was still trying to like buy like basic furniture for like the place I started living at, and it couldn't like even buy groceries because everyone was panicking and like buying in bulk at that time. And just like, all right, but I just kind of didn't let it faze me, because I'm like, I got this great job and I'm just going to go to work every day and just have fun with it anyway. And then all the moves across country and just the cool moments and memories I had with that. And then time with my family throughout the summer, and then meeting my girlfriend towards the end of the year. And then everything that's just happened since then, just a lot of huge, significant like milestones happened in my life in 2020, all while the virus is going on. And I think at times I just didn't let it faze me, because I just had so much good going on anyway. I just try to not worry about it so much. And I mean, we can't change it anyway, right? It's happening, so you may as well try and make the best of it. And yeah, it's unfortunate that a lot of people that we all know have had things that it caused negative effects in their lives too. But I think there's also positives that happened in this year, or this past year as well. So I don't know, just trying to find the good stuff in everything. Yeah, so 2020 is definitely a year none of us will ever forget, for sure.
Yeah, definitely roll through the punches, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, guys, we're at the portion of the show where we're going to start opening up the chat for questions for Frank from you guys, and we are going to try and make sure that we answer as many as we can before we have to close up the show. So if you guys have an opportunity, go ahead and strike in the chat there a question for Frank if you've got something and you want to know a little bit about. We'll try and do our best to make sure Frank answers that question. So, Frank, tell me exactly how many trips between New York and Utah did you make? Because I follow you on Instagram, and it's like every time I looked and I saw Frank on Instagram, he was driving one way or the other across the country.
Yeah. I think, let's see, I did the Mustang trip. I did my Coronet trip. I did a trip with my mom with everything that I owned in a giant budget truck with my Roadrunner behind it on a trailer. And then I did the Wildcat trip with Alex. So 4 cross-country drives so far. And I still have my 65 Dodge D500 flatbed, my 70 Super B, and my 263 Dodge 330s at the house. And the wild hair that Alex and I got up our rear ends is that we're going to try and have the Coronet, the Super B, put on a flatbed by like, a tow truck flatbed, and have that put against the backside of Big Bob, because I haven't built the ramp for it yet and I haven't actually redone the bed for it. But that truck I want to make a car hauler. So it's not really ready for it yet, but we're just going to see if we can do it anyway and have it flatbedded onto, and just push it off and roll it from the backside of one truck onto the other, and then just drive it across country and hopefully not break down like every other trip we hope for. And then the 2 330s are left in remainder, or maybe we actually could rent a truck and just drive all, tow all of them together. We still haven't figured out all the works of it, but there's at least one road trip, if not 2, remaining from the remainder of the Finnelli squad back in New York of cars. So yeah, it's a never-ending process, like when you're a car owner, I guess, to move your 4-wheeled babies around the country.
Well, we did get a question in from the chat, and I'm hoping that so just so you know, Frank, King Eric, the greatest of all, is our snarkiest commenter. He's got really good sense of humor. Okay. But I actually think he's asking a serious question, and so I'm hoping it'll make sense to you. It looks like it's probably military jargon, but he asks if you were in, I'm going to say 04 when you served, or O-4.
Yeah. Okay. So 04 would be a major of rank. So like 04 is pay grade. So to answer your question, I'm actually still in the reserves. This last year, I've kind of been in sort of an inactive status with the reserve, just because of COVID and everything, and me being across country. It's, as you guys know, everything's weird. So I'm actually about to join up a new unit in Salt Lake next month, and I'm still a captain. So I'm an 03 at the moment. And yeah, no, not sure whether I'm still going to stay for the full 20 or not, but I think I've got 8 or 9 years in now. I don't know. It's time kind of flies, but yeah, long answer to your question. So I'm an 03, not an 04, but thank you.
And Dan's Garage NC is asking, how is it working with a team where you work?
I love it. The guys that I get to work with are really cool. And me being a rookie in my eyes still, compared to the guys that I get to work with, I get to be in sponge mode all the time and just absorb from them, being around them. And there's been a bunch of them have really taken me under their wing too, to try and show me different little techniques or little skills that I didn't really think about before. So every build, every piece that I get to work on, I'm learning from. So it's really cool to, yeah, I think a lot of us like to do solo stuff, but also teamwork makes for a really great product at the end too. And it makes things go by a lot faster too. When you got like 2 or 3 guys helping you bodywork the side of a truck, it's way quicker than doing it by yourself. So it can be satisfying to see progress happen faster and more efficient too. Because sometimes, like you said, I might think of doing something one way and someone's like, oh, well, you could try it this way, and you don't even realize how you could do it maybe better and more efficiently. So you're always just learning from the people you're around. So yeah, teamwork helps for sure.
And Pony 1992 is asking, Frank, what branch did you serve in? And thank you for your service.
Well, thank you, Pony 1992. I served in the Army. So like I was saying before, I did a little over 4 years on active duty in the Army, and now I've been in the reserve since then. So yeah, it's been a fun ride. Like honestly, the Army helped in a roundabout way of me kind of getting into cars, just because I think of me coming out of college with a degree, being an officer, and not having loans that have to be paying off by doing the ROTC program myself, and then making a decent amount of money to start with as a new officer in the Army. I had that cash to be able to buy cars and start working on them. So I do owe a bit of thanks to the Army as well.
Frank, I will say, you might not know this, but I will tell you that every time on your Instagram story, when you approach the giant big American flag probably at a car dealership, and I think you just simply write, hell yeah.
Yep.
I just always think like, yeah, no, that's the patriotism we need. Like that's what this country is missing. And it's like, it never gets old for me just to see it, and like I wish there were more people like Frank who had that love for our country, and it means a lot. So
well, thank you.
Don't stop doing that.
I appreciate it. I get excited every time I see a big American flag, for sure. Goofy as it sounds.
And in Canada, we have the same patriotism. We just simply show it differently. Like for us, it's like smoking a cigarette and drinking a Moosehead. But I don't know what we don't have these great big. We have great big flags, but yeah. I get it. I think the whole patriotism of A, serving your country, but B, just still serving your country and having that sense of patriotism when every time you see those big flags hanging out. We did have a question from Jaws, who is writing, Frank, did the quickness hang on
I can take it if you
go ahead.
Did the quickness that you did the Camaro fender bodywork on get the other guys in trouble who worked there already? I'm basing this off the comment made by the foreman during the boot camp show.
Oh, okay. So I think I know what he's asking. Yeah. So during that challenge, they said I did it, I guess, faster than the guys in the shop. I think he's talking about Kevin, our foreman. So I think Kevin was definitely joking. I mean, I think the guys in our metal shop are pretty skilled and could do it just as fast as me around there. But no one got in trouble for it. It's I think that was him just kind of throwing a couple jabs at the guys, because of course they always want us to work a little faster there and get the job done a little bit more quickly and efficiently. But I was flattered to hear that. I honestly enjoyed that challenge. That was probably my favorite challenge, the Fender challenge, and just getting to show what I had there. It was cool. I think that was, like you guys said before, the moment where I felt personally, I was like, holy crap, I'm actually maybe capable of this stuff. Like, I felt the next thing I knew when I turned around, I was done with that Fender, and I looked around at everyone else and like, I did pretty good, and a couple people are still working on theirs and I'm already done. So it was cool.
We got one more question that we're going to have from the chat, and it's again from Dan, Dan's Garage NC. Frank, do you find that after working on customer cars all day that you do not want to work on your own later?
That's a great question. No, surprisingly, and that was my biggest fear, is that I was going to start working here and I wouldn't want to work on my own stuff anymore. And I leave work every day still wanting to work on my own cars. Now, whether or not it's 9 o'clock at night and I just got finished priming a car and I'm exhausted and I don't actually have the energy for it, maybe, but do I still have the desire? It's yes. I get motivated by the stuff I work on at work and just want to make my stuff even cooler and better. So maybe, although I don't have the time lately as much as I wish to after work to get the stuff I want to on my own cars done, I know I'm learning so much, and that, I don't know, the times when I do get to work on my stuff, it'll be that much better. So no, I still love working on my own stuff, even after working on other people's stuff during the day.
Well, this is usually the part of the show where we start to kind of go through our normal closeout questions, like tips or tricks you want to share from your time on YouTube. But before we get to those questions, there's one more I've been holding on to for a while. It just, you were talking about your cross-country trips, and the one in Hefty. Take us through the story of you're on what it is, I-80, I-84 or whatever, and you pass another orange Coronet within the same body year, and you guys like do U-turns and go meet up, or take us through that crazy sequence.
Yeah, that was one of the most memorable moments of that trip for sure for me. I forget his name. I feel bad, but one of the guys that had been following me on Instagram, I guess, was following my journey across country, and he took it upon himself to start up his similar, his is a 66 and I got a 67, but his orange Coronet, and go basically wait on the side of the highway for me to pass by, and then he merged on behind me. But this is what I found out later. In the moment, though, I'm just cruising down 80, forget exactly what state we're in, and all of a sudden in my rear view mirror I see a 66 orange Coronet. I'm like, if you've watched the video, a little bit explicit language, but I'm like, get the hell out of here. I was beside myself. And then he was next to me, and then I kind of just filmed his car, because I was just like, no way. It's like, you don't really see too many cool cars on the road to begin with, and let alone someone with a car just like yours. And I caught up to him. I was like, it's like, let's go pull over. You know, like I want to just take a picture. Like I got to remember this. And so he like kind of waved me on, and we wound up pulling off at some really cool like airspace or Air Force Museum or something, and took some cool pictures of our cars together. And yeah, it was just one of those wild things you'll never forget on a car trip. Just one of those really cool car community moments, and like the connection that we're talking about here that you can make through Instagram and YouTube on with other people, that without that it wouldn't have happened. So yeah, that was wild. That was probably one of the highlights of that trip, is just running into him on the road. It was so cool.
Yeah, and it's one thing that you're making the trip to, you know, to go and pursue a dream career, but yet to still have some of these memorable moments along the way that you can share. And I actually, you know, remember you posting about that. Yeah, we're gonna kind of just jump into closing out the show here a little bit, and I do want to ask you, Frank, a little bit of there's a lot of aspiring YouTubers out there, guys who have been doing this a long while. A lot of us are just small channels, and if there was one thing that you could give advice to for some of these guys, what would you say that would be?
I think kind of caveating off of what I said before would just be being yourself and having fun with the videos that you make. And what helped me personally a lot, I think my time in the military for speaking, but that's definitely hard to do. I think we're all really critical about ourselves on camera, because for some people it's I don't know, we're very you're very what's the word? You're very critical on yourself on camera, right? And we go back and we'll edit and we'll say, all right, that doesn't sound good or whatever. And just maybe letting go of that and just being afraid to make mistakes. And specifically when it comes to cars, just getting your hands on them and working on them. And maybe that's not as easy for everyone, depending on your situation. I know that it's not the cheapest hobby to get into, but if maybe you have a friend or someone you know in town that's got a car, or, you know, a buddy that would let you work on theirs with them or something, it's just getting your hands on them and just learning. And before you know it, it's a lot easier than you realize. So yeah, just having fun with it.
Well, with that, this is the part of the show where we usually just kind of go around the horn and try to figure out what maybe the next bit of content might be, whether that's on YouTube or Instagram, what's coming down the pike. So I guess we'll start with you, Jason. What's coming up next on OCG or Old Car Guy?
Well, as Mortsky most graciously alluded to in the chat, a follow-up to last week's Running Out of Gas episode. That video goes up tomorrow night, and it's a sponsored video, so make sure you watch that. Yeah, so we diagnosed the fuel gauge not working. We get that, we do get that going, and we do make another trip for a miles per gallon, a fuel economy run, to see how well the old EFI is working on Dale the truck. Frank, you got anything coming up on Instagram or your YouTube channel that you might want to share with us?
Well, I recently moved my garage once again, so I'm kind of getting my garage resituated for I don't even know how many times in my life. So I'm kind of in between that at the moment, but once I do get it put back together, it's continuing the restoration on my Roadrunner. So that one, the driver's side quarter panel, the driver's side rear quarter panels, not too far off from going back on. And then I'm going to cut the passenger side off, do that one too, get those quarters hung and get the whole back end of that car nice and straight and panel matched. And then I can start doing body work. And I'm hoping now with my new skills from work, I can knock that thing out pretty quickly, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm excited to get that car done. If I have the time and the energy after work, maybe I could have it done by the end of the year. But now that I said that, it won't be another. So, yeah.
We all know how that goes, but yeah.
And Grant, so let's tell us what's going on at Straight SixFan besides transmission shifting problems.
Yeah. I don't think that will be the next bit of content for the Fairmont. If everything goes the way as planned on Saturday, it goes in for to get the exhausts welded up the rest of the way. As you know, I welded my own Y pipe, made my own Y pipe, but I don't have a tube bender for I guess I'll let the cat out of the bag. My whole approach on the car is to make it appear as stock as possible. So that's why we kept the single exhaust, and we're gonna get the exhaust shop to basically replicate the tailpipe, but it's with a bigger diameter exhaust pipe. So that's probably what you'll see next. But yeah, before Jason, I'll let you take us on home. I guess I will just say thanks to everybody who donated in the super chat for your chance to win some Kilmat, an installation roller. So Pony, Stupid Fast Truck, Gary Mathis, and Prepping Life all chimed in or pitched in a little bit there. So good luck to you. Jason, why don't you take us on home?
Absolutely. And guys, you've got maybe about 2.5 minutes left if you want to throw a last minute super chat in there for your chance to win some of that Kilmat. Frank, thanks for taking some time out of what's going on in your life to be with us here on Thursday evening and sharing a little bit about your story.
Thank you guys very much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
And real quick, Frank, we did get one last question, and Dan's Garage again is asking. He just wanted how can people find you on YouTube? What is your channel name on YouTube?
Yeah, my channel's Fanelli Restorations, Fanelli Fanelli Restorations, and then on Instagram it's Fanelli66 is my handles. That's how you can find me.
There you go, guys. And I just put the link in the chat as well as Grant has it in the description box down below. Morsky Repair with another $5 and Roy Marco's Garage with $5 Canadian, and Stuff with Cletus has got $5 in there as well. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Frank, thanks for being here. Grant, thanks for helping us put this show on tonight and hosting. And next week it's going to be back over on my channel because this is a co-hosted opportunity for both of us. We've got Alex Taylor joining us on my channel next week. So hopefully we can pull that one together one more time. And again, thanks everybody for joining us. For now, we're going to say see you later. Thanks for being a part of the show. And I'm going to end it like I end every episode. And hopefully Grant doesn't cut me off. Stay focused on the windshield, not the rearview mirror. Guys, we'll see you next week.